As the Carpathia sailed towards New York, Ismay was reportedly taken to the doctor's cabin and sedated. However, he still managed to send 3 telegrams to the White Star's New York office, urging them to keep the Cedric in New York Harbor so that the surviving crew members of the Titanic could be brought back to Southampton directly. The American inquiry, hastily organized, failed to ask the right questions. The surviving officers of the Titanic, including Ismay himself, remained tight-lipped. Several experienced sea captains were called to testify about the decision to maintain full speed in an ice field, but they all gave similar answers. They believed it was normal to maintain full speed and claimed that the icebergs could be seen at a considerable distance. Surprisingly, nobody questioned why the Titanic still hit an iceberg under those circumstances. When the surviving crew members returned to England, they expected to be reunited with their loved ones immediately. Instead, they were gathered in a railway shed and held for almost 24 hours before being asked to sign documents. Many of them believed that they were signing the Official Secrets Act. This raised suspicions that someone was trying to suppress vital information. Ismay, Light-Toller, and the other surviving officers traveled back to England on the steamship Adriatic. Their conversations during the voyage likely revolved around their upcoming role as star witnesses in the British inquiry. The scale of the possible fraud suggests that it could not have been carried out without the collusion of the authorities, particularly the British government, as we will see later in the inquiry. The Board of Trade inquiry, presided over by Lord Mersey, was unlikely to prioritize uncovering the truth, considering that the Board of Trade's outdated regulations were partly responsible for the loss of life. The inquiry occurred at the Scottish Drill Hall in London, where poor acoustics made it difficult for spectators to hear anything said. Lord Mersey himself had expressed dissatisfaction with the venue, but his son chose it. During the hearings, Harold Sanderson, representing Harland and Wolff, repeatedly referred to the Titanic as the Olympic. Lord Mersey, for his part, failed to ask or permit the right questions. The press, present throughout the hearings, seemed more interested in the scandal surrounding J. Bruce Ismay's fortunate escape. Other naval officers with expertise in the matter testified that spotting an iceberg from a distance of 6 to 10 miles would not be difficult even on a moonless night. It's worth noting that the Titanic's full turning circle at top speed was only 3/4 of a mile. However, the British inquiry appeared to be a cover-up. Captain Smith, who was no longer alive to defend himself, was not blamed. The lookouts were also not held responsible. The Titanic's design, construction, officers, and owners were all deemed blameless. The only person singled out was Captain Lord. Captain Lord stood alone in the blame. Any information that Lord Mersey disliked during the inquiry was ignored. Whenever a Titanic survivor mentioned seeing a mysterious ship on the horizon, Lord Mersey would often interject with, "You mean the Californian?" Cross-examination was scarce. Captain Lord declined to defend himself, perhaps out of fear that he might reveal his involvement in the conspiracy.